Well, welcome everybody to the Chef's Table. This is where I, Chef Katrina, interview entrepreneurs from all walks and areas of life. What I've discovered over the last few years is that I truly enjoy connecting with entrepreneurs, finding out what they're passionate about, learning about their journey, and having them discover and share with you some of their best tips, resources, and opinions about what it looks like to be building a business today. So I'm super excited because my guest today is Richard, and Richard is amazing. This is a gentleman that I met a few years back at an event and had such a passion for learning online marketing and wanting to make a difference in his world. And he'll share with us, I'm guessing, some of his journey that got him here, but he is a gamer creator. That's what I'm calling you, a gamer creator. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but that's what I'm rolling with. He's an entrepreneur. He is just absolutely incredible, and it's truly a blessing that he said yes and is here with us today talking about, what is the journey of an entrepreneurship? Because I think this is a big question that many of us have, because it's supposed to look a certain way. It's supposed to be a certain way. We have this perception of getting started or how to get started. And I know Richard has been through the ups, the downs, the money spent, the money lost, but the investments he's made, with what he's done, has really impacted where he is and what he's up to now. And I'm super excited to bring to you where he's at on this part of his journey, because I can only see it growing and moving forward from here. So truly, it's amazing to have you on here, and thank you for being a yes and joining me here today at the Chef's Table.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I couldn't refuse a yes from you. That's not a possible thing. So yeah, I'm honored to be here. Yeah, so do you want me to just kind of dive in a
No,
little
well,
bit to
well,
my story
let's
and
get
all that
let's get
stuff?
real here.
All
Let's get
right.
real here. All right. So the journey of an entrepreneur. My first question I always ask is, how the heck did you find yourself here as an entrepreneur? I mean, most of us did not wake up this morning and be like, "Hey, I'm going to start being an entrepreneur today." That typically is not how these conversations start. So I want to know, what had you start looking at being an entrepreneur? What brought you to that point?
Yeah, so that goes back a long way. Probably, through really, I would say end of high school, start of college, so about 14 years ago. I went through some really difficult times. I basically was lost. I was a really smart kid in high school, basically self-taught myself all the stuff that I wanted to learn, math, science, all that good stuff. Always got good grades, that kind of thing. That guy, I was that guy. I just learned really, really quickly. And later on down the road, I would find that's kind of a double-edged sword, but I'll get back to that in a little bit. But yeah, I basically just lost my way, lost my path, started getting really bad grades in college, just kind of really lost control of my mind and lost myself, I guess, for lack of better words. So I went through um, basically I didn't know what was going on. So, before there was this whole thing of, natural solutions and good health and not depending on prescription drugs and all that kind of good stuff. Although if you need them, take them. But um, yeah, so basically I got misdiagnosed with a mood disorder. And then my life pretty much honestly got destroyed from there. I was addicted to substances. I was in a lot of bad relationships, abusive relationships where I was the one getting abused because I didn't like myself. So that was a big cause of that. Tried to take my life twice during that time because of the substance abuse. So I found myself not going through college. And then basically that took about 10 years of my life away from about, well, not quite 18 to about 26. So 8 years of, substance abuse and recovery as well. Withdrew from all my prescription medications, got clear minded. And then I was kind of in this state of shock, snapping back from reality after going through all that, if you've been through that before, is really intense. And it's kind of like, what the hell is going on and what happened? And you're like honestly in like a state of confusion. Like everything is new. Like you're like, for me it was like, what, like even basic stuff like what foods do I like what are my passions, what do I like to do with my time, just like basic stuff that I think a lot of people at that point probably know, maybe not, but or at least have, you know, they're making a living, at least like moving forward in their life in some regard. So, you know, I'm jobless, nothing. So that was kind of the point. And we were just actually talking about this a little bit before, like, I had so many, like I had such a broken work history from, you know, not being able to get jobs because of the substance abuse. And then if I did get a job, if I was clean enough to get a job, then it was like I wasn't holding the job for a long period of time because of everything that was going on. So I had this like huge broken work history. So I couldn't get employed. And then I was like, maybe I should just like figure out, like, go back to the basics. Like I was really good at math and science and I was a gamer, and that was what really drove my you know, my math and science skills. Is like I wanted to use that to build technology of some kind, whether it was a game or software. That's what I knew I wanted to do before I went to college. So that's kind of where it went. And I took online courses to keep learning new tech skills and new programming software and new programming languages and all this kind of stuff. So um, that's really in short, although it wasn't that short of a story. That's kind of really where I started was, well, I'm probably not going to get a job anytime soon. So why not learn skills that will eventually be valuable? And I think I don't know where I got that thinking from, you know, like after all of those experiences, it just kind of like, that's just always how I've thought. Like before I went to, you know, college and kind of lost who I was and lost my path, that was just kind of the thinker that I always was. Like, what can I do right now that's going to benefit me in the long haul? And that's just always been my way of thinking. Is I guess you can call that visionary, you can call it whatever you want, but that's just kind of the way that I've always thought. Is like, what can I do now that won't necessarily benefit me right now, but what will benefit me in the future? I've always just been, I guess, an investor in myself in that sense. So
You
that
know,
was that was yeah.
it's really interesting to hear you say that because, you know, listening to you and having you share your story, right, of just kind of what you've been through, got up to this point, there was almost like a moment where you said you kind of woke up and had to like rediscover who you are. But I love this, and I'm really getting this when I talk with everybody so far. It's kind of the same, a little bit of an underlying conversation. I look forward to hearing this more and more as I continue to interview other entrepreneurs. But there's this drive to better yourself, right? There's
Yep.
this drive and this curiosity around what can you learn and then be able to share with other people. So, you know, I know the first time I met you was at a live event.
Yep.
So what, and I'm just curious, like what had you say yes to being at that particular live event?
Man, that is so interesting. I think, man, thinking about that was already, what was that, 3 years ago almost? So much time has gone by. But I think like the main thing was, so the person that got me interested in the event was basically promoting it, I think, at the time. And it turned out like she lived on the other side of the world. She lived in Australia.
Hmm.
And I met her through an ad, and she was going to this event, and she's like, I'm gonna be there. And that was actually my motivation to go, because like we had built such a relationship. It wasn't just like, oh, she wanted me to buy some product. Don't do that. Don't be a spammer. It's just so annoying. But and the opposite side of that is this is like it's a real relationship. Like, yeah, she's like literally 26 hours ahead of me, but we still keep in contact, even though neither one of us are part of that organization anymore. We still, like I ask her how her kids are and how her life is and what she's doing, and we still stay connected. And that's the power of building like a real genuine relationship. So I was like, this might be the only opportunity in the near future that I get to actually see this person. So that was actually my main motivator. It wasn't like, because before I had ever signed up for this event, a year before that, I had just gone through a very rare and intense entrepreneurship program. Basically, here in Kansas City, there's a program called the Rainier Institute of Innovation and Entrepreneurship program, and 10 people get accepted every single year into this program. And you have to go through this long, thorough application process. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to get accepted into this. Like, I don't have a job. I don't work. I have a very vague idea of what I want my business to be at the time, which was something completely different than what I'm doing now. And so I was like, I don't know if I really need this mentorship, but like, this is a way for me to like, again, it was like, this is a way for me to build long-term connections. Like, you don't know who you're going to meet there. You might meet an investor. You might meet, I mean, obviously there were a ton of marketers there because that's who it was geared towards, but that's beneficial to businesses. Like, if you're a good enough marketer, you can freelance your services out to big businesses. And what a lot of people don't know is that this is actually pretty common practice, because hiring your own team of marketers is so expensive. Like, people just do not understand the cost of running a business. You're talking about a team of 100 people that you're paying a minimum of $65,000, $70,000 a year plus benefits. It's like $1 million department minimum to establish that. When you can hire someone for $100K or $200K even, let's say, to handle your marketing, handle your campaigns, handle your advertising. And for me, I much rather pay that cost than have 200 employees working for me.
Yeah.
At least from a marketing perspective. Oh, yeah. And so, yeah.
So you had gone through, so what was the entrepreneur program like for you? So you got accepted, I'm guessing. So you went through that.
Yeah, so it was really intense. Like, this was the real deal. They were bringing people in. They were bringing in COOs, CFOs, CEOs from multi-million-dollar companies, retail stores, banks. There was someone there from Amazon. So like, you're talking, I don't know how they made these connections, but it is the like most prestigious entrepreneurship program, I'm pretty sure, in America, just by the talent that they had come in. And they were giving advice on like, this is how to set up a structure of a business. You need to like the marketing thing that I just talked about. Like, people do not understand how expensive it is to run a business. This is why a lot of business owners take out loans. People are like, you're crazy to take out $500,000. Like, how the hell are you going to pay that back? And it's like, easy. Well, you hire 100 marketers that are really damn good at what they do. And guess what? You get your return on investment.
Yeah, so true.
So it's just really all about thinking. And I think that they really enhanced that for me, like more than like the previous mentorship company that I was in, that I paid even. So this program, crazy. I'll let you take a shot. We'll play a little guessing game.
Oh, guessing game. I love guessing games. I want to know what everyone else thinks. I'm just curious.
How much do you think it cost me to invest in that?
So in the entrepreneurship program?
So it was 1 year, one full year, January to December.
Okay, so you had a full year and you were talking to people like Amazon and CFOs and COOs and top leaders and people like that. And this is one of the most elite entrepreneurial type programs. Knowing what I know, if I was to guess, if I didn't know what I know about probably the other part of this question, I would say you probably would have paid close to $50,000, even for 1 year. That would be like probably a really accurate guess, considering I know what they paid to become a chef. I know what 1 year of chef college costs. I'm thinking it's got to be that at least.
You're going to be like mind blown, and most people are going to be mind blown. It cost me $1,500.
Shut the front door.
No, that's it. They have this perception and very good talent that the application process is so rigorous that they want to be in your head. They want to see how serious you are, how you think, and that's all they care about. It wasn't about the money because they can make that money back. And so even though that, because basically it was, in terms of like the resources from the school, it was basically two business professors, I believe. They alternated time frames, but it's basically just two staff members that were working an additional day. I'm sure they're salaried anyway, so it doesn't matter. But they just really wanted to get a good picture of like, how serious are you and how do you think? They wanted you to already be thinking like an entrepreneur so that you can be successful in the program. So it was like, they weren't teaching you entrepreneurship. They already knew you were an entrepreneur going into it. And so they were like, all right, these people are ready. We don't, like the program we were in, no one's ready. They don't have the mindset. They don't have the skills. And you are literally with 9 other people who think like you, who want stuff like you. Like, there were people who were running already like non-profit businesses, making clothes and sending them to Africa. Like, you're talking about people who are like the brightest of the brightest and have so much passion that they just want to make the world a better place. And that's who we were surrounded with. And I think that that's why these big companies were so attracted to what they had built. Is that it was literally, God, I hate the word attraction marketing, but like, that's what it was. Like, they naturally pulled these big multi-million-dollar businesses towards them. Like, hey, can you have like one session where this person teaches finance? Or like, we had lawyers, like they brought in one of the top law firms in the entire country who like represented massive companies. And like, this is why you need this is why you need an IP, an intellectual property. This is why you need a trademark. This is why you need to sign NDAs for contractors and stuff like that. Like, you need to protect your business. You need to think about your customers. You need to think about who you're serving. And yeah, is it going to cost a crap load of money to have someone represent you in that capacity? Probably. But like, for me, and I'm sure we'll talk about this in a little bit, but like, game IPs are worth millions of dollars. It is, I was actually just having this conversation before we got on the call with someone that I was mentoring, and it is the second biggest industry right behind sports. It's a $144 billion industry. And last year, one of the video game sports called esports, for anyone who knows what that is, almost overcame the Super Bowl last year in terms of raw numbers, raw number of viewers. So you're talking literally about the industry that is about to overcome sports. That is how valuable those IPs are. And it's just, you have to protect what you're building, because if you don't, someone is going to literally take your code, take your design, take everything you've built, stole it, and make it their own. So you know, like network marketers and online marketers who might be watching, you're thinking like, well, do I need an LLC? Do I need to protect my stuff? Well, yeah, if you have original content, protect your stuff. There is nothing from anyone taking what you were giving them for free or selling them without, like, there's nothing stopping anyone from stealing that if you don't protect it. Just because you have a, you know, a copyright symbol on your website, doesn't, it means your website is protected. It doesn't mean your actual ideas in your, you know, your ebooks and the trainings and the masterminds that you're creating are like protectable. And that's like how I like to think as a business owner, like, because that's how I was trained, like to think about literally everything, the big picture, the marketing, the advertising, the legal, and then, you know, each individual little thing that I do, like in terms of development and stuff like that. So protect your stuff. If there's one piece of advice I can give, like if you are a growing business or you are about to launch, protect yourself. Seriously, because you don't want all that hard blood, sweat, and tears, you know, being pulled out from under you. You know, you're advertising on Facebook or Pinterest or LinkedIn or whatever your flavor is, and then all of a sudden it's just gone. And I actually know someone who went through that, and I'm like, you know what? I'm really sorry, but here's some tough love. I told you to protect your stuff, and you didn't, think it was going to happen. And that 3 years of that person's life just got pulled out from under them, and everything got stolen. So
yeah, that, I mean, definitely the legal, and that's even something for me that I'm like kind of diving into and learning, because I'm recognizing that if you grow as a business, it's the legal element is a must.
Yeah.
Right. It is. If you're going to look at what's it going to cost to start up a business, it's not just your sweat equity that you're putting in, is what are you doing legally to protect yourself?
Right.
And I admit, Richard, I mean, I've screwed that up pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Everyone does. Every business owner learns this the hard way. Really, they do.
You know, we think we can skate by underneath of it, and then all of a sudden you're up against the brick wall and you're like, well, son of a gun, there it is, right there. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And, you know, and also from like a business perspective, like that's what makes your company more valuable. Like you have protectable assets that no one can ever violate. And if they do, guess what? You get money from that if you can prove it in court. So it's not only like, it's not, and so when people talk about this, it's like, oh, companies are greedy, they're just protecting themselves, but they're actually protecting their customers. Like, it's not just for the business, it's actually protecting the customers too. Because like if someone steals your stuff, well, guess what? The 100,000 or 10 million or 100 million people that are buying from your business, guess what? They're no longer buying from your business. And they enjoyed your product, obviously, because if you're building a, you know, a fan base of 10 million people, 100 million people, they liked what you did, and now someone else took it and probably screwed it up. So, because and it all goes to vision, right? Like I'm joking about it, but like at the same time, like that person who stole it doesn't have your vision, they don't have your passion, and so the product or service that they are offering that they stole from you is not the same thing. So it's just, it hurts everybody that's involved. So yeah, bottom line, protect your stuff.
Yeah. Well stated. You know, very well stated about that. You know, we were talking to, and I did like that you brought this up, because that is one of my big things now, is the word attraction marketing, because I have a pet peeve around it also, because I feel like it's like a word that gets thrown around all over the place, right? Without really a true understanding. It's like, oh, well, if you put value out there, it's attraction marketing. And I'm like, you post a picture of your dog is not attraction marketing. I don't care who told you that, but that is not bringing value to anybody.
No, and we've talked about this several times, and I know you said you were going to lose your stuff, but you might lose your stuff here because I'm going to lose it in a second. And I think that like this is like an actual like really serious important topic, but I want to have some fun with it
Okay.
because no need to get too serious, but at the end of the day, like it's just, oh my God, like you're saying, like people follow other gurus and so-called experts, and I hate that word too because 99% of them aren't gurus or experts or pretend to be. Well, I hear a doggy. So
It's all part of the normal show. My dog,
yeah,
she shakes back there at some point, sometime in every show. She's just good at that.
yeah. So yeah, and it's like they teach you, oh, by, you know, putting yourself out there and sharing images of you and your family and your pet and just being real with people. That's not enough, especially when everyone is being taught this. You're literally talking about 115 million people that are now catching on to this trend, and everyone is a so-called guru and expert. Their mother, their grandmother, some person who doesn't even exist is the expert. And it's just like, it's just unreal to me how people can buy into that, right? Like you really, I posted about this yesterday and we talked about it a little bit, but like if you, it feels like it's more like convincing marketing. Like,
I love that. Okay. Yes.
so should we brand that? Should we like license that or something?
Yes.
Like,
I'm going to convince you.
So like, but like seriously, because that's what it feels like when I look at these ads and even like organic posts from people that I follow within the community that we used to be a part of. And maybe I am bashing it a little bit, but like, it's just, and I don't like to bash, so I'm not trying to, but like, when this is the way that you teach people, it's actually really ineffective because only one out of basically 100 people will read between the lines and figure out that it actually takes skills to tell a story. So when I don't like bragging about myself, but I've been writing for a really long time. So when I came into this community, shared my story about suicide, substance abuse, all the crap that I went through, and people are like, you're so good at writing. And maybe at the time I didn't realize it. I think that was one of the things that you and a couple of the other people that I actually built real relationships with were like, yo, you're really good at this. And I just didn't know it. But like thinking back on it, like I've been writing poetry for 12 years. I've been writing blogs for 3 years. I've been writing game stories now for a couple years, short stories and game stories for a couple years. I would call myself an expert at what I do. I've been doing it for 15 years, 12 to 15 years. So when you do it, you become natural, and at some point you don't even realize it. Like I just didn't realize how good I was at what I do. But you have to, like, the main thing about social media is like the people pretend to be who they're not. Like at the end of the day, and it is so obvious, like the fact that other people who are buying into these products, into these, oh, it takes, plug into my 4-step simple system, here's a 7-step guide on blah blah blah, like it's just like I feel it like it's very manipulative, and there's a difference between manipulating your audience and influencing them. There's a massive difference between those two words. And so like when I said convincing marketing, like, I mean, I was only joking about it kind of, but like it really is, like, it's manipulative. Like you are trying to convince somebody that you are an expert. And what happens, I can tell you this, I don't need to buy somebody's product to know this. I just know it from experience that those people leave so fast. They go on to the next thing and they think that that person can help them. And it just becomes this never ending cycle of everyone thinking that online marketers are frauds and fake. And for the most part, people are actually correct. Like, there's less than 2% of 115 million people that actually understand what online marketing is, that it is a skill set, and that it is revolved around your beliefs of whatever it is you're selling.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what you're doing. I hate when people say I'm sharing, not selling. No, no, no. You are selling. And like, in the more that you and it's not a bad thing, because
No, it's
that,
not.
if you understand business 101, okay, here is business 101 in a nutshell.
Oh,
Your
this would be
job
good.
as a business is to profit. If you do not profit,
You're not
you
in
go out of
business.
business. That's it. Like, literally, if you don't learn anything else from this entire thing,
Oh my God, yes.
that is how business works. Because I got so mad, and this is someone that would call themselves an expert, and other people, like literally tens of thousands of other people, would call an expert, and they go, they made a post about how people would buy a product from like like a Bath and Body Works, like
Yep.
like women's lotions and stuff like that, but they wouldn't buy a health product from a network marketing company. And I go, there's a reason for that. It's because they do not trust an amateur. They will trust a multi-million-dollar company who's proven their worth, who sells quality products, and they go, yeah, but it contains all this crap in it. And I go, that's up to the person.
Mm-hmm.
What, like, people need to understand the psychology of business. Like, like, there's a reason for that. It's because they enjoy it. It doesn't matter. Like, take anything that's unhealthy and bad for you, McDonald's, Wendy's, and like literally any fast,
Everything.
literally everything, cars that we drive, everything that we do every day, people buy. And
Mm-hmm.
people go, well, we should be doing healthier things. Okay, well, when a multi-billion-dollar company that comes around that wants to do that, aka Tesla, well, then cool. People will buy the product. Guess what? Teslas have come down in price. They're affordable for the middle class person, and they prove themselves in a system that everyone was like, oh, this will never happen. We'll never have fuel efficient cars. So like, if you're complaining about someone buying an unhealthy product and you think that they should buy from you, give them a reason to buy from you.
Yeah.
What do you actually offer? So this goes back to value. What is valuable about what you're offering? And I think that this is the most challenging thing, specifically for network marketers, because they're offering someone else's product. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I actually think running a network marketing business is 50 times harder than what I'm doing. And what I'm doing is freaking insane.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. I think it is way more difficult to get into a network marketing business and be profitable, because you're not responsible for the product. You don't control the thing. You didn't birth it, I guess I would have to say, right?
Yep.
And this comes back to a conversation we had earlier. When you birth an idea, right? And I'm going to use the word birth because that's really what it is. Like, you create it, you conceptualize it, you bring it to life. There is something you're attached to, right? You're attached to its success, and you're also devastated by its failure and everything that goes along with it, right? So we talk about that, we talk about passion, right? What is passion? And there has got to be some fire underneath of you that pulls you to talk about something, that pulls you to recommend something, that pulls you to, want to make it better, not trying to convince somebody that it's better. But what is it about you and your belief of how this is going to work that's going to make the difference for somebody else?
Yeah. And so that comes to another, I guess, trigger of mine. But it's like this whole brand you thing. Okay. So you have to do that. Like, there is no option if you're in network marketing. You have to figure out in some way to brand yourself.
You have
because if you don't have a business, right? Like, The purpose of a business, again, is to profit and to make money from people. There's nothing wrong with that. If they want to buy, you aren't forcing them to buy. You're not convincing them. Well, maybe you are convincing them to buy. But, you know, at the end of the day, that's how business works. So the thing about, I don't want to say real business, but businesses outside of network marketing, if you attempt to brand yourself, you will go out of business so fast. Like if I represent my game company as myself, no one will buy my game.
No, they're buying the game, not you.
Yeah, they're buying a product. They don't, well, I mean, they might care about me as a person, and they might feel inspired to follow in my footsteps to make a game, because that's how I got inspired, by following developers, by following huge AAA companies that provided me not only hours of entertainment, but helped me get through my recovery process. Like, games are therapeutic. Like, that's the sense that I come from. And that's always how I've treated games, as a form of therapy to me. Whether it's something violent I play, fantasy, whatever it is. If I'm in a bad mood, sure, I'll load up some GTA, run some people over, you know, whatever, right? Like, that's a great way to get out frustration.
Yes.
I'm not going to be like the real psychopath that goes out and, you know, takes it out on real people. So I've always found it as a form of therapy, because it helped me relate when no one else could understand what I was going through. Not even my parents. Like, they tried to understand, but unless you're that person who's been through it, it's so hard to relate. Like, that was like one of the things that led me to want to take my life, was like, I couldn't relate to anybody. And that's what games did for me, was like, wow, this person's actually in a shittier situation than I am. I mean, I know it's not real, but just because it's not real doesn't mean it's not relatable. And I think that is the real power of video games. And I think that the numbers speak for themselves. $144 billion. I think a lot of people can relate to that too. So that's always just what it's been. So yeah, people aren't buying me. They're not like,
yeah,
oh,
nobody buys
this
the CEO of a company, right? Nobody's like buying the CEO of Nike. Nobody cares who the CEO of Panda Express is. They're buying the product, the shoe, the clothing line. Like, they could care less about who you are.
Yeah.
Right. But you're fascinating. Right.
Sure.
But, you know, and there's an element of at least protecting your privacy and protecting what you do, but being able to put something out there. So yeah, the only place I've ever seen brand you is in the industry of network marketing, because you are a salesperson for the company. You're literally contracted, and you get a commission to sell their product. You're no more or no better than an affiliate. That's what blows my mind, is people are like, well, I can't affiliate marketing and be a network marketer. What do you think a network marketer is?
Yeah.
They're an affiliate of the product. They're basically selling the product to you, and they're making money. Yep. I'm sorry. That's every affiliate marketing company in the world.
Yeah, that's their model. And if they feel like you are, okay, so I actually know this firsthand. If they feel like you are a threat to their business, they will terminate your contract. They will not hesitate to say, you cannot buy, you cannot sell our products ever again. And I'm actually friends with someone who got screwed this way. She was making a fortune, and then just like that, her business was gone. Because if you don't fall in line with the ladder, and so, oh God, another triggering thing. People go like, you know, the corporate world is, you know, like a pyramid scheme. No, I actually think that affiliate marketing and network marketing is a pyramid scheme, because it is. It's controlled by a executive. It's literally, what people don't understand is that it's still a business. Like, it's a business. It is a corporate structure. It just has the freedom to not hire people, contract them out, You are a glorified contractor who sells items.
You paid them to become a contractor. You
Yeah.
handed over your money and said, oh no, I want to be a contractor. I want this level of payment. You
And
basically gave your money to request how you're going to get paid.
yeah, it's insane. Like when people say that, like it's just unreal to me. Like, are you delusional? Like, do you not understand? It all goes to like people just really don't understand how business actually works. They have been brainwashed to think that they understand how business works. And that to me is a big problem. Like if I wasn't making a game, I'd be doing like what you're doing and like actually encouraging people who want to run a sustainable business and help them with their problems, because that's what entrepreneurs need. And I actually just connected someone who's just like you. They're an expert at understanding business. Like, how does a business work? What are the struggles of your business? And how can I help you solve those problems? That's what these online marketers and network marketers need, because they have been brainwashed to think if they sell a product and they brand themselves and they are making an income and it's on autopilot, that they have a legitimate business. And it's not, because that company will take away your business so quickly because it's not yours. And it goes back to that legal thing. Unless you are creating valuable content outside of what you're selling, you legally don't have or own a business. Like, legally speaking. Sorry to break your heart. Sorry to, hurt you a little bit, but that's the tough love. Like, that's what, Chef knows me. That's what I do. I do tough love. I just tell it how it is.
Well, it's like, even, when I first got started, I was reading a book by Robert Kiyosaki. It was called Rich Dad Poor Dad, What the Rich Know About Money That the Middle Class Do Not. And even inside of that conversation, it's all about business. And when he writes a book called, The Business of the 21st Century, which the network marketing industry like worships as like the next best thing, because he says, if I were to start over again, I would start with the network marketing business. He doesn't tell you that he'd probably build the network marketing business, right? He's not going to be the network marketer. He'd actually be the network marketing business, right?
Yeah.
Because of the fact that it's inexpensive to start up, because you're recruiting people to do all the heavy lifting for you.
Yeah, and they have to pay you.
And they have to pay you to get access. This is like, it's the brilliant, right? They're paying you to get access to sell your system, right? And that's the crazy thing, is that you're paying them to get access to your system to sell it.
Yeah.
So you better start selling it.
Yeah.
Like, you better have a darn good reason why you joined, and you better be willing to go out there with your core values and tell people that you freaking joined something.
Yeah.
And then explain what had you say yes. Ugh.
And then that's where the convincing happens, because people feel so stressed out. And that's how I was. I mean, I lost $60,000, went bankrupt. That's another fun story, from the former company that we used to be a part of. And it's not, and it all goes back to this point. I don't think like the leaders were bad, like people. I think that they had good ideas and kind of good philosophies. I won't give them that much credit, but I mean, I think that they were genuine people, though. That is something, and I can respect that till the day I die, because there are not very many genuine people in the online marketing business. But that being said, it's like, God, I'm paying, like, I took out a $60,000 loan with no job. All right. So people think that's crazy. Well, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm crazy.
We do crazy things all the time.
We do crazy things all the time. It won't be the last time I probably do it either. But that being said, like, you have so much pressure on yourself to perform on something you may or may not like. And that was my mistake. Like you said, you better damn well sure know that that is what you want to do, because if it's not, you're going to lose all your money, because you're going to be like, all right, well, 12 months and counting, and then the $60,000 of interest is kicking in. So I better convince people to buy this. And that's what most people do, because they've been convinced, oh, well, if you invest in yourself, you'll get your return. But I think that the missing point here that is really, really important for people to understand is there's a difference between, okay, so this is related to passion, which I guess is a perfect bridge. But if you don't know in your heart of hearts whether that is what you want to do, you aren't investing in yourself. You've allowed yourself to be manipulated by someone who has power because they have a lot of money and they have helped people in the past. And honestly, that's how I felt. And honestly, I still feel. That's why I don't like that business,
Mm,
because people can manipulate you even if you aren't aware.
yeah.
Because unless you like, if you think about it, right? Like there's a lot of school teachers, there's nurses, PRNs, like people from all walks of life that have no idea that it's just a sales business.
Yep.
So if you aren't passionate about sales, find something else.
Yeah.
Invest. If you're going to take out $60,000, all right, learn from me the hard way, someone who just went through bankruptcy because of this, is that like invest in yourself, like actually invest in yourself. What is out there that you're passionate about? Like what drives you freaking crazy? Like what, so this is how I thought about it. Like what keeps me up at night? Like when I play a game, what drives me nuts? Like why does it work this way? It shouldn't work this way. I want it better. And I said that enough that I was like, you got to stop complaining about it and just do it.
Yep.
And that's what my passion became. Well, not became, it always was. I was just ignoring it for so long. But because of your mentorship and a couple other people, it's that awareness. Like you really, as an entrepreneur, every action you take, you have to be super aware of what the consequences can be. I mean, you might not know every consequence, but
Yeah.
you better be very sure that, or very clear that like, okay, if I drop this kind of money, these are the possible results that will happen in my current state of mind.
Yeah. Well, I will tie
Yeah.
into that one because, I had a very similar, very expensive mistake. I opened up a restaurant for 9 glorious months. So I opened the restaurant doors January 1st, exactly 9 months to the day. End of September, we ended up closing the door, selling off everything, and we walked out. Now, I will tell you, being a chef, I thought it was a brilliant idea to get into, and I learned a lot along the way in terms of business, right?
Yep.
Like you can never unlearn it. Now, I always tell people, while it was expensive, it was the best education I could have gotten because I
Yep.
learned what not to do, and I looked at it from like, what would I do differently? Right?
Yep.
What worked, what didn't work, and what might I do differently? So I was in an evaluating state way before I even knew there was such thing as an evaluating state.
Yeah.
Crazy how these things work, right?
Yep.
But I think as entrepreneurs, we're intuitive to like knowing that some things are working, what's not working, and we're not beating ourselves up about it either.
Yes.
So there is a cost, right? Either
For sure.
you're going to invest in going to college for your education, you're going to invest in different products and services over time. There's going to be stuff you buy that did not pan out. There's going to be investment in mentors. Like I have also that are like, that didn't work. Like I paid all that money into this mentor and that didn't go anywhere.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. For
You know,
sure. Right there with you.
Yeah, I've been, even outside of what we've talked about and who we know. So there's always an element of learning. Like you're never going to be an entrepreneur and nail it perfectly. You're
No.
going to have the ups and downs of this whole journey. But I think, what I love about you, Richard, is that you're here straight up being like, dude, can I just share with you some of this, can I pull the wool back, off your eyeballs and really expose you to like what the flock is really going on?
Yeah.
If you are a herd of sheep, that's great. Then join the herd. But for the love of all that's holy, if you're an entrepreneur, you're freaking on the fringe. You're curious about learning a new skill because you're curious how to take that skill and share it with somebody else. You're curious about bringing something to the market that's going to make a difference in people's lives.
Yep.
And because of that curiosity, that's what sets, for me, what I'm learning so far, and in a lot of these interviews that I've done, that's what truly sets an entrepreneur apart.
Yeah. And I want to clarify or hit on that a little more, but curiosity is an interesting word because that word has been manipulated and abused and
Ooh.
overused so much in the online marketing space.
Examples. How do you share that? I want to hear this. Like, 'cause I think of curiosity as more of like, okay, how does this work? And I'd be like curious how this computer works. And then I want
Right.
to dive into figuring out how it goes. But that's not always curiosity as explained as a marketer.
Yeah, for sure. And so, yeah, and then I'll explain the way, because I think about curiosity very similar to you. And I think that's how all entrepreneurs think about it, because that's how they build successful empires. That's just how it works. So, man, so people think that you can relate to other people's pain by going, oh, well, have you experienced this, right? Like, oh, well, I'm a single mom or I'm a single dad and, I lost thousands of dollars doing, this process and this system, but guess what? And then people are like, oh, what? And then it's just like seriously, like you said, sheep will be sheep, but like, can you really as an entrepreneur buy into that like BS, like seriously? Because like all they're doing is feeding on your emotions, and that is manipulative. Like that is the definition of manipulative. If someone is going, oh, have you felt this way before? Have you experienced this? Okay, so the difference between how online marketers do it and real businesses do it, because businesses do this.
Mm-hmm.
They create this level of curiosity, but they don't manipulate people. So if you think of a commercial,
Budweiser.
right? Like let's say
Budweiser.
so
There was
this
the frog commercial with the Budweiser frogs. That's my favorite curiosity-driven commercial ever.
So awesome. So actually it's interesting. So we watched in entrepreneurship school for an hour out of the 8 hours that we were in class. I kid you not. Okay. We watched advertisements from multi-million and billion-dollar companies, ranging from Super Bowl commercials to just the most well-known commercials of all time. And the one thing that they all had in common is showed somebody's pain. They showed a before, visualizing it, going, okay, well, this is what happens if you don't buy our product. But if you buy our product, guess what? This is all the stuff that we offer. Buy our product. And they're saying it, right? Like they're advertising. They're literally saying, buy our product. Guess what? Multi-million-dollar companies, ironically enough, guess what? They understand business. They need to make money. They want people to buy from them. And so they go, and they do in some ways bash their competition. If you think about every laundry detergent commercial in the universe, every one of them, I don't care which company, they will go, oh, here's this company, oh, here's ours, completely clean. Guess what? No matter what company you buy from, your freaking detergent will make your clothes clean. Well, but they somehow, right, it's this curiosity to go, oh, maybe my clothes really will be that clean. And they even have the little sign, this is a dramatization, this isn't real, because they have to legally do that. And yet people buy into it because they see the before, the after. They go, you know what? I like that brand. I like their colors. I like what they stand for. And that's real curiosity. That's what gets people to buy. None of this, I'm going to prey on your emotions, BS.
No, I love that one because I'm going to tie in, because when you said, what's the comparison? Like when people do a comparison to products, the first thing that popped into my head was the guy from Verizon. It's like, can you hear me now? Because the guy from Verizon is no longer with Verizon. He's on some other competitive carrier called Sprint.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's so funny because the competition took the spokesperson from another, and they played off of each other.
Yep.
Right? Like I applaud them for that, because that is some strategic marketing curiosity, because you've just flipped the spokesperson.
Yeah. And it's just like, that was a great move too, because that guy is just awesome, right? Like think like if you actually look at the numbers of when that commercial initially launched at Verizon, I guarantee you literally tens of millions of dollars of more sales that year. I don't know what the actual number is, but like Verizon was basically non-existent when they first came around.
Yep.
It was T-Mobile, AT&T, and Sprint. Those were the three big carriers. And then you have this, you know, little man coming around, Verizon Wireless, like, who's Verizon? Like, who would buy from this? And then all of a sudden, can you hear me now? And people are like actually enjoying the commercial. Like, how many people can say they enjoy commercials? So that
it did two things. It created curiosity. It had you think of, maybe I need to switch, because a lot of us were dealing with dropped calls all over the place.
Yep.
Right. And so it positioned itself. And that's what you got to look at when you start building a business, is where's the gap? I always talk to people, it's like, where's the gap? Where you find yourself going, well, why isn't there a better carrier? Why isn't there a better this? Why is it? That question is what drives entrepreneurs to create our world that we're going to live in next.
And that's the curiosity that we both talk about, is like, what is the missing piece? Like, and then that missing piece actually becomes your whole business. So it's not like this little piece that you go, oh, well, I figured it out. But like, did you really? Like, so that's what we're doing. So I guess I haven't really talked about my game business at all, but that's what me and my team are doing. So I talked to you about this a little bit, but I made sure, and people don't like the word sure because of the communities they're a part of, but you know what? Sometimes you've got to be damn sure about what you're doing, because that is the confidence you have to have as an entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you don't, you will fail. You will fall on your face because you don't believe what you're doing. But back to the main point, I made really sure and clear when I sat down, because the problem that I thought I was going to have is, these are two of my best friends that I've known for a really, really, really long time, and I didn't want this to be a hobby. So the first time we got together, I made sure that they knew what my intentions were. And I said, okay, guys, here's my vision. Here's my plan. Here's what I think that we need to do to have a competitive advantage, like in the marketplace. I came to them with all this stuff, and they were like, holy crap, dude, you're onto something here. And that is the vision that you have to have as an entrepreneur. That is actually what gets people, whether they're a customer, they're going to co-found your business with you, whether they're going to be an employee. If you do not have that crystal clear vision of, this is what our game's going to look like, this is the competitive advantages that we're going to have, because I'm in a $144 billion marketplace with giants. It is literally David versus Goliath. And this is why people call me insane, because they're like, dude, you have no chance. And I'm like, yes, I do, because I actually have a plan. And my plan isn't to annihilate the giant. It is to become the giant. And I think, like, wow, that was like, just came like out of nowhere. But like, that is actually like really, really profound, because your job as a business is to first be able to be competitive. But once you have set in stone that like you are a player in the market, it's only up from there. Your vision isn't over. It just expands. And it expands because guess what? Now I'm making hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars from the game. Guess what? I can hire artists. I can hire programmers. I can hire more designers. I can hire people that are actually professional at what they do. It's not that we're not professional, but we don't have tens of years of experience designing games.
You can start hiring experience, and you can start hiring expertise above what you know, so that you continue. Because the thing I've always known as an entrepreneur, you've got to surround yourself by people smarter than you.
Yes, you do.
You have to.
You have to. You have to get guidance from somewhere.
Yeah, you cannot be the smartest person in the room, because then you're really, truly the dumbest person in the room.
Yeah, it's true. And so, and even when you're this small, like we are, right? Like, we're just three dudes living out of our house, getting on calls all the time because technology allows us to, and it's wonderful. And we have tools that can, we found tools that were like, well, we're going to design our systems this way. I wonder if the marketplace has developers that have designed tools that can at least establish the foundation so we don't have to create everything from scratch. Hey, guess that's a smart idea. That saved us literally, like, I kid you not, that almost week straight of research to see if there was something that was closely matched to how we were going to develop our framework for like combat, for how interactions were going to work, all these things that we have to think about. And then we finally found a couple tools and we're like, what's $1,000 if this saves us 2 years of development? Because again, it goes back to, we don't have more developers. I can't be like, hey, can you work on combat? Can you work on character creation? Can you work on enemy AI? Can you work on this? Like, we're 3 people. We have to do all of this stuff ourselves. And so I guess that's another thing. You have to learn to be resourceful. Not only do you need mentorship, you have to be resourceful. Like, that resourcefulness, I'm not kidding. It saved us 2 years of pre-development. We are going into development within the next couple weeks. A couple weeks compared to a couple years. Just by looking and researching and going, is there something that exists that can solve our problem? And while it doesn't solve the entire problem, it lays the foundation so that we can solve the problem that we want to. That is how entrepreneurs need to think. They need to think.
Get resourceful. You have to get resourceful. There are so many people that are coming back to you wanting for you to solve their problems. Your job is not to solve their problem. Your job is, I promise you, like even with the teams that I build, my job is not to teach you how to build a business. My job is to teach you how to get resourceful about the business you're building.
That like is, man, and I think that even in the community that we were a part of was like they said be resourceful, but they never actually taught you how to be resourceful. And I think that was a real disservice for people spending that kind of money, because when you are spending tens of thousands of dollars and you're teaching all these skills, that should just be part of the package. Like, and as we talked, I mean, it's kind of funny, but it's just the reality. Most of these people are not business savvy. They have no business skills at all. They don't have the mindset. They don't have the skills. And so that needs to be something that's just part of the package.
You have to be curious about what you're going to learn. I swear. I'm just going to point back to again, because we've kind of talked this part over, but if you're going to invest in your education, it's like saying I'm going to college, but having no idea what you're going to, major in or anything else. And I'm totally telling you, it's okay to change majors. It's okay to flip things, whatever. But if you go to college with no intention whatsoever, then you're just wasting money. And it's the same thing if you're going to get into like the world of entrepreneurship. Look at, and I'm always telling people, what are you actually going to use, right? If you're going to buy this product or this mentorship, are you going to use it? Like, what and how are you going to use it? What's the purpose of it? What is it going to do to move your business forward? Because if you can't answer that questions before you make that purchase, then it's just a purchase. And then you're just expecting the system to do all the work for you. And I promise you this, there is not a single done for you system that actually is going to do anything for you. I think it's one of the biggest lies out there is like, oh, I just want it all done for me. No, you're going to actually have to do the work. You're going to actually rant time. You're going to have to talk to people.
Oh my God.
You're going to actually have to open your mouth and have a conversation with people. You cannot hide behind a screen. You cannot hide behind a text, a messenger, a bot. Like if you're truly looking to build a business, you're going to have to build a network of people you actually talk to.
Yeah. And it's crazy, okay, so here I am a developer, right? Like I am a tech person who relies on technology. I love it. I love implementing it. And guess what? I still have conversations with people.
You have
Because
to.
you have to. Do you know? Okay, so question to anyone who is watching live, but like, what, like, what is the reason that big companies can use so much automation and so much AI? And there's two reasons for it. And they're actually pretty straightforward. The first reason is because they have the resources to do it. They have the resources to build these AI bots, to find out exactly what their users want, what their customers want, all this kind of stuff. Sorry, let me mute this. I have someone messaging.
I had the same problem. I had to mute.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but they've done the research. So here's the other thing too. They probably built in these multi-billion-dollar companies. They've done the research. They know the most common asked questions. They know the typical response people are going to want, what they're looking for. That's why there's an FAQ. There's a frequently asked questions section. Yep. So building out a bot from that level is perfect. But if you're just starting out as an entrepreneur, you can't automate your system because you have no idea what the frick is going through a customer's head.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then that really goes to my second reason is no one trusts you anyways. So not only do you not know what questions to ask, no one is going to, it's so impersonal to talk to a bot. But when you are a multi-million or billion-dollar company that has millions of loyal followers, people see it as a support system. It's completely different. The company isn't going, oh, well, we're doing this because it's a shortcut, because it's easy. It makes us more money and it's less resource intensive, which means we're even making more money. You have to think about the business always. It's not about how much money you can make, because if that's how you think, if you're like, well, I want to be a billionaire. Oh, do you even understand what it takes to be a billionaire? Most people don't even understand what it takes to be a millionaire.
Most people don't understand what it takes to make six figures. Yeah, right? Like how to own $100,000 as a business. Most people have no idea that concept looks like.
No, and they don't. And like, we're sitting here asking, questions to the audience and making it seem easy, but it's because we have that $1 million mindset. We've been trained. We know what questions to ask. We know how to treat people. We know how to build relationships. We know how to create curiosity, and it's skills. Everything that I just talked about is literally a skill. So it's just, it goes back to that. But I did want to hit on passion because we didn't really talk about it, and it was something that we talked about going into this that we were both fired up about. And I'd like to start it with a quote that I'm probably one day going to be memorable for. And I wrote it in my post yesterday. And like I said, I think a lot of people took this as a very, very negative post because they've been taught so ineffectively and been trained very ineffectively. But the quote is basically, the causation of business is passion. It is the soul of innovation and entrepreneurship. Passion is the driving force. And I had a comment that said, well, no, it's not. You have to have a skill set and you have to be determined to do it. But that's what passion is. Passion induces you learning a skill set. Yeah. And people go, well, what the hell does that even mean? So, and it's really hard to explain because unless you have that passion, it's like hard to understand.
It is.
Unless you really have that fire of, I am absolutely willing to do whatever it takes to build this, like literally 60,000 K bankrupt, suicide, like everything that I've been through, right? Like all these hurdles. I just got a job after being unemployed for basically, well, you could say technically 2 years, but basically my entire life since I went to college. I've never really held a job for any meaningful amount of time. Now here I am in a very luxurious job, as I told you about. I get massages. I get to work from home. I get paid well. I get incredible benefits. I get treated like a king, which most people at most companies probably don't get treated like. But that's what I earned.
Yeah.
That's what I earned because of my skill set, because of how valuable I am. They saw that and they were like, we have to pick this guy up before someone else does, because that's how competitive the tech industry is. If they let me go, they know somebody else is going to pick me up.
So can I point to passion real quick inside of this?
Absolutely.
So, you know, when we talk about passion, what passion is that you're willing to do it for free.
That's true.
I will, and the reason for this, like, I know for myself, when I got into the world of being a chef, right, I was willing, after going to school, to go and this is maybe something because of the industry that I went into, or maybe I was watching a bunch of televisions or being back in the olden days, but I truly do believe, and I think Donald Trump actually did it the best when he created the show The Apprentice. What are you willing to apprentice for free to gain the skill and the knowledge? And when I sit here and I read through all these books about entrepreneurs, a lot of the times they're willing to go to work in a low-paying job to learn a skill set that they can then turn into a multi-billion-dollar business, right? Yeah. So the question is that what are you willing to trade your time or your money to gain a skill set? I did this when I became a chef. I interned and I went to places that I knew were going to improve my skill set as a business. Shockingly, not as a chef, but as a business owner. That's one of the things that fascinated me. Cooking was just a part of my expression of wanting to help people. And when I left the industry of being a chef, I went and basically, shockingly enough, I apprenticed at a digital marketing company. The reason I joined that digital marketing company was to learn the skill sets of what it took to build a digital marketing business. How do you do that? How do you create courses? How do you put this together? How do you build customer trust? How do you take care? I learned a whole nother realm of experience. And while I might have traded my time and dollars to learn that, and I, you know, for whatever that is, the skill set that I learned from that, I can't unlearn.
Yeah, for sure. And I think also, like, you were saying, like, how you would trade time and money, but you can do both. That's like what I'm doing right now. I have a job. I am willing to give my time for money to build the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And there is nothing wrong with that, because, you know, in the online marketing world, they really do shame you like a job and so like calling it names and like it's a bad word. You do whatever you have to do to live the life that you want to live. And if that means that you have to work 40 or 50 hours a week so that you can build your dream, do it. Literally.
There's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, I mean, that's the approach that we're taking with our business, is that we're like, well, once we release the first version of this game, we're going to need more help. So why not hire interns to trade their time for skills? Yeah. It's not like they're working for free. We're not like, hey, come work for us for free. Although legally, I guess that's what they're doing. But like, there's nothing illegal about doing that. If someone is willing to give their time to learn a skill set from going from $0 an hour so that they can make $40 or $50 an hour with the skill set that you're teaching them, there are people that will jump at that. And that's our approach. It's all about being resourceful. It's about understanding how people think about achieving their dreams.
Yeah.
Because some people just, so this is going to sound terrible, but like some people just want to be a game developer. Mm-hmm. Some people just want to be a chef. Some people just want to be an attorney. Not everyone has big dreams, and that's okay. Like, as a business owner, that's something I'm learning. I don't need every single person to have the drive that I have. It's okay if they don't. There's nothing wrong with that.
There isn't. And that was one of the biggest lessons I ever learned while working at Disney. is that, you know, when I worked in the kitchen, I was always trying to grow, to learn, to get to the next level, to continue to build my skill, right? So with the first time I became, actually it still is like I was a what they call an assistant chef, right? I was like the middle, I was right before you become a salary payer. You're still middleman kind of making it. And I was like talking to these people that have been with this company for 20, 30 years. And I'm like, well, don't you want to become a manager? Like, don't you want to, like, you know, grow your skill set? And they're like, no, I'm comfortable just coming in, doing what I got to do, going home and taking care of my family. And I was like, what? Like, you don't have, like, and that's when I learned that not everybody has the same drive to better and to create. And it's okay, because we need these types of people in the workplace.
Yep.
We need people that are content to come in and do a job and do it to the best of their abilities and then go home and take care of his families. That's the people we're going to end up employing.
Yep. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that's
okay.
what they want. Yeah, they want that.
I'm not trying to change people's lives. I'm trying to I'm helping those that want the help. But if you're totally content where you're at, then be content. And
in a way, we still are changing their lives, because we may pay them more than what their previous job gave them. It's all these, it's just the way that we think, right? Like, we're still helping families, right? Like, we're helping someone pay the bills.
Yeah, that's perfect. So we have been on, and I want to continue this conversation. I want to continue talking, and I know that everybody that's watching this is going to be like, holy, like, keep going, right? But I want to respect everybody's time too. So we are literally about 90 minutes in. Wow. So I know, but our conversations are so rich. I mean, every time we talk, they're just like these nuggets and golden information that are hidden inside of these conversations. Yep. So my question for you is, where can people connect with you? Like, where do you want them to go? You're going to be coming out with a game soon. They're probably going to be curious, like, where can they kind of go and find you, connect with you, learn more about when this is going to get launched?
Yeah, so right now, I've been doing a better job of staying active on Facebook, but it is really difficult with, working 40 hours a week and then working my game at night. But I have been trying to post more regularly on Facebook, and that's the platform that I am mainly on. So facebook.com/Richard Bretton, or just do Richard Bretton as a search, Bretton. In Facebook. You can also find me on LinkedIn, and I've actually been building some pretty good connections there. So if you are interested in being a developer or have some interest in working with me in my business, feel free to send me a message through there.
Okay.
I've been connecting with digital marketing freelancers, like I said earlier, other people like that, finding mentors. So hell, if you want to mentor me, shoot me a message on there. If you know something about gaming or technology, feel free. I'm always open to learn. So LinkedIn, Richard Bretton, and Facebook, Richard Bretton as well. And that's where I hang out mostly.
Cool. Well, I will have those links down below in the description and also on my blog. So if you guys are looking to figure out how to connect with them, it's been an honor and a pleasure. And thank you so much for really just sharing the journey that you've been on, your experience. Because I think that's one of the key things is just the experience of being an entrepreneur, the ups, the downs, what you've seen, what you recommend. And I just love your passion for what you're creating. So it's truly an honor to have you at the Chef's Table today and just really have this amazing in-depth entrepreneurial type discussion, because it is so refreshing to be talking with somebody of your caliber. So thank you for joining me today. It's really, I totally appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It's an honor. Very much likewise. It's very nice talking to someone who wants to have real conversations about real problems, finding solutions to those problems. So thank you very much for having me, Chef. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I have a feeling that you're going to be invited back, and definitely right around launch time. I want to know more about as we get closer. I look forward to having you back here at the Chef's Table. And congratulations on your new job and taking that on. And I love the fact that you're using that as the bridge to really develop and bring your idea to life. And I'm just super proud of you, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for everyone who watched. I know this was a lot of time. I'm a talker, as you now know, if you didn't already. So thanks for everyone who gave us your time. Appreciate that as well.
Honestly. All right. Well, everybody, we'll look forward to catching you at the next chef table. As you know, this is me interviewing entrepreneurs from all walks of life. And I really hope you took away some big tidbits from today's conversation. If you did, go ahead and comment, share them out there. And I really appreciate your love, guys. And we'll hope to see you next week at the chef's table. With that, everybody, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.